thinking, man, they probably should just, if they really want to be serious as a true donut dynasty, Dunkin's Donuts, all they need to do is get Tim Duncan to be a sponsor of theirs and have him pose for
True.
something. Like, yeah, Tim Duncan eats at Dunkin's Donuts. Why not you?
They taste about, not that Tim Duncan's game was bad at all. He's an all-time great, but they taste about how his game translated on the court. his game was the equivalent of a Dunkin' Donut.
I know,
wheat Dunkin' Donut.
I know, but we just couldn't even get adjusted to it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
All right. So I said I would have one that would cause an earthquake, and I think this one is probably going to be it. I'm taking a big shot on this one. Now, Mark, we did a top 5 list a while back. It was the top 5 what if moments in sports. And one of the ones that you picked up, which is one of the ones I think a lot of people have said, is if Michael Jordan doesn't retire, do the Chicago Bulls win 8 championships? Now, you know my own opinion on that. Everyone knows that. I would say not. But I'm thinking about this opinion more and more and more. And I'm saying to myself, okay, if I were to do this unpopular opinion, how would I do it without letting my bias show? Because I want to cause a lot of chaos and I want to cause a lot of controversy with this unpopular opinion. How do I do this? How do I say it? And then it hit me. This could lead to a future segment for a future podcast, maybe, depending on if this goes well or not. But I'm about to go ahead and just say my unpopular opinion. So, as an NBA fan, if Michael Jordan doesn't retire, the Bulls don't win 8 championships. They don't win 6 championships. They do not win another championship in Michael Jordan's lifetime.
What?
No, it's crazy.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You got to explain this.
Michael Jordan, this not only affects the Bulls, but it affects the NBA landscape in crazy, crazy, crazy ways. So let's get right to it. Let's start in 94-95. Let's say that the Bulls do lose the finals and they lose to Orlando in the 95 playoffs. Scottie Pippen, after experiencing the frustrations, and this, by the way, is Jordan still with the team. Scottie Pippen, frustrated, says, man, I'm fed up with this. I'm tired. And you know there was supposed to be a trade with Pippen going to the Sonics in return for Shawn Kemp. That happens. So Scottie Pippen goes to the Sonics. Shawn Kemp returns to the Bulls, or goes to the Bulls. It's great times in Seattle because Pippen is paired up with Peyton. Not so great with Michael Jordan and Shawn Kemp. I mean, the Bulls are still a playoff team, but they don't win 72 games. Sonics reach the NBA Finals, and who do they run into? They run into Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway in the NBA Finals, and Seattle wins the championship that year. So, Seattle wins a championship, and Shaquille O'Neal, upset that he lost 2 straight NBA Finals, is so upset and fed up, he wants to go to a different challenger of a team. And then there's one person who calls in to Shaq's agency and says, listen, if you go to Dallas, we can make you the most famous cowboy that's not a famous cowboy out there. That is the sound of Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys owner, telling Shaq, go to the Mavericks. And he goes to Dallas for some reason. Penny Hardaway is spurned. He wants out. So he gets traded to Phoenix, who send in Sam Cassell, who had gotten traded for Charles Barkley from Houston. And Sam Cassell steps up for Orlando's role, or actually, that's a little bit lost here. But that doesn't happen, so scrapped out the trade part. But anyway, nothing really changes as far as the Western Conference is concerned. Utah still goes to the NBA Finals, and then they go out and, well, somehow, I don't know why, but Orlando pulls off a shock. Actually, it's the Miami Heat who they beat in that year's NBA Finals. The Utah Jazz, Karl Malone, John Stockton, they get a championship. Good for them. But Utah sitting there thinking, wait a minute. We don't want to just win one championship. We want to win another one. So Utah pulls off a shocking trade. They trade Byron Russell to Golden State in return for Latrell Sprewell. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, Latrell Sprewell, wait a minute, that guy? Hey, the good news is Sprewell doesn't choke his coach and he doesn't get suspended. Utah goes back to the NBA Finals. Yeah. This time, they're going up against Reggie Miller, and the Indiana Pacers. And the Pacers win the championship, preventing a back-to-back situation. Now, in 1999, the New York Knicks, they lose Latrell Sprewell. But let's say they lose Latrell Sprewell. They don't get him. So what do? They need to draft somebody really good. They decide to go, instead of it being Air Canada, it's Air Broadway, as the Knicks select Vince Carter to the team as well. And in that year's Eastern NBA Finals, the San Antonio Spurs are going up against the Chicago Bulls. Oh, hold on a second. We need to talk about the Bulls. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. You see, by 1996, Jerry Krause realizes that, you know what, Michael's still a great player, but we really need to think about the future, prepare for the future. We need to draft his successor. So he's looking around. He's looking to see if there's anybody available. And you know what? He manages to beat one out another Jerry West. Because with Chicago pulling off a big trade, they draft this high school phenomenon player by the name of Kobe Bryant. Holy tornado. Kobe Bryant and MJ on the same team, though not on the court at the same time. Kobe's there, and by 98, Michael Jordan retires. Kobe Bryant is now leading the Bulls to the NBA Finals. But wait a minute. The Bulls get one better. In 1998, they make a draft, and Jerry Krause is saying, I got the future. I got Kobe Bryant as a superstar, but he needs a partner. You know, I could go to Europe. I can actually go find somebody in Europe that is really could play with Kobe along as well. I did that with Tony Kukoc. Why can't I do that helping Kobe Bryant out? So he looks around all the European countries, and of all the great countries he finds, he lands on Germany, and he selects...
I knew you were going. I knew this is where you were going.
He selects Dirk Nowitzki, which basically means the Dallas Mavericks don't get Dirk Nowitzki. But as a consolation prize, they already have Shaq. They already have Steve Nash. With their selection, they select Paul Pierce, the truth. Spurs beat Chicago in the NBA Finals that year, but that year, the Bulls realized, you know, we can't win with a championship. We need to add a dominant post player. We got to find somebody that is going to help us out in the post. Let's get the best center in the game. Let's get the best center for us in the NBA. So they go out and they get Dikembe Mutombo in a trade. And the Bulls win the championship, beating the Spurs in a rematch. All this to say, the chaos that is known as Michael Jordan's supposed retirement. Michael Jordan saved the Bulls dynasty by retiring. And I know you're thinking to yourself, is this K-Rock guy delusional or what? Oh, I'm not delusional. I just rock people's worlds. That's my what-if scenario. And I know that look, Mark, that you're giving me, you're going to say it. I know you're going to say that I'm nuts. And that's okay. Because this is an unpopular opinion. I'm just saying.
What kind of in-game multiverse Marvel Cinematic Universe type of unpopular opinion is this, K-Rock? Jeez. That was how long did it take you to come up with all that?
Might have took me about a few days, but
that's crazy.
I know it's just so crazy. But the landscape in the NBA in my mind would have changed. It might have not gone in the way I would have thought about it, but all this to say, the Bulls should be thanking Jordan for retiring, because that second three-peat team was better than the first three-peat team in my mind. Because look, Tony Kukoc elevated himself to a Hall of Fame player. Dennis Rodman was a huge asset to the team. And then you had Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, Luke Longley, who was a great fit for them. There had to be a reason why the Bulls' second three team was right there. And I know, but it's just one of those things you just have to think about in that situation.
Why would Shaq go to Dallas? That's the thing that was tripping me.
See, that's what I thought about. Like, I thought he would be good to going to Miami, but then I realized, wait a minute, they already have Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah.
The reason I thought about this is because the reason why Shaq went to LA was because the Lakers had traded for the rights to draft Kobe Bryant from the Hornets for Vlade Divac. And if the Bulls were going to end up taking Kobe in this case, Shaq needed to go somewhere for finances. And I I couldn't picture another team. I mean, because again, all the top-notch Western Conference teams had their players, and I didn't think he would be a good fit for Utah in that situation.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been good for Utah. He could have. I don't see him going to Seattle because I don't think they ran their offense through him. I just thought just for the sake of the marketing and just for the craziness, Dallas would have been a perfect fit for him, even though that year the Mavericks were not at the level that they would be for the next few years. That was the only one that really got to me.
I don't know. I argue that Jordan with Sean Kemp would have worked better than Gary Payton with Sean Kemp because the triangle offense when Shaq was with the Lakers worked great with Shaq playing through the triangle, and he had Kobe as the dominant perimeter scorer. And I think it would be similar with Jordan and Sean Kemp,
right?
Because then Jordan would be obviously the dominant perimeter player, and Sean Kemp, he's also the type of player that you don't have to run a ton of offense through. He's athletic enough and big enough and strong enough to where he can create his own offense and get his own numbers and stuff like that. So I think that actually would have worked out better than you think it would.
Yeah.
But as for all this other stuff with Kobe being drafted to Chicago and Latrell Sprewell going to where did he go? You said he went
He went to Utah and
Utah.
Like, hey, I saved him
crazy
trouble. So,
but you're right. From the standpoint of if Jordan doesn't win those other 3 championships, it does change the landscape of the NBA.
Right.
And I think if Jordan doesn't leave and goes to play baseball for those 2 years, there could have been some kind of controversy that caused them to split up sooner than they actually ended up splitting that team up.
Right.
That's a good point. That's probably the only good point you made through that whole thing. I don't know.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I only threw that other entertaining stuff as a what if, maybe for a future scenario. This is the way I look at it. I mean, it might not be 100% accurate, but I'm just throwing it out there. It's we're entertaining. Okay.
Yeah. It was very entertaining to see how you came up with that. And our top 5,